counting.
Counting crows. It's going live on everything there. So we're.
I guess we're live. Okay, let's do this. Hi guys, Paul.
Josh?
ManiacsMeat podcast episode. It will be episode 27. The upload that you're watching right now will be uploaded this coming Friday or next Friday. Actually, next Friday. Obviously, not this Friday. But one thing that will happen soon after this is done is Slasher Sunday. That's going to come up episode 26, yeah. So, looking forward to it. Anyway, so here we are. Here we are again. We're going to be talking about some spacey goodness, some very interesting spacey goodness that starts pretty interesting, then gets less interesting, and then basically it gets like a suicide.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we're talking about Xtro.
Xtro, read all about it.
Xtro, read all about it. Woman has thing forced down her throat, blows out her ass.
That's accurate.
Yeah. So let's go into a little bit of Xtro. Go.
Before we go any further, did you realize there was an Xtro 3?
I didn't until you told me. Well, actually, no, not until you told me. Is when I was researching it, and I'm like, oh, I gotta watch this now.
Did you watch any of it?
Yeah.
Is it bad?
Yeah.
Oh man, I only started it, and I'm just like, I can't even.
We'll talk about it a little bit.
Okay,
I want to talk about it because I want to do 1, 2, and 3 on the podcast.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to do all of them. So it is what it is. So is this your first time watching Xtro?
No, I watched Xtro a long time ago when I was younger.
1982.
I don't know if it was on Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs or if it was on the Sci-Fi Channel. Some shit. I remember watching it, but I had to refresh my memory, obviously. And it is on YouTube. Terribly Russian dubbed copy on YouTube. It's watchable if you can get past the terrible dubbing.
So big apple.
It was bad in the sense that, and the guy's it's one person dubbing
the whole film.
Everybody, one person, and it's just like monotone. Here the kid's like, Dad, and then the guy's Baba. It's just
Baba. Well, if you want to learn Russian, watch Xtro on YouTube.
Yeah. But
well, one thing is the female actress in this one. I'm gonna see if I can find her name really quick. Oh, they're probably not gonna post her names because Bernice Stagers was in quite a lot of films, and one of the films that she was in 1980 is one of the films that I want to cover. It's Macabre.
Ooh,
definitely. She said, like, I rewatched this and I was like, God, she looks so familiar, and I'm like, bam, it was on the Blade in the Dark box set thing or double DVD. So I definitely want to check out that because I actually like her as an actress and stuff, and she's been in shit tons of stuff later. A lot of British dramas and things like that over the years. But what do you think about Xtro? Actually, let me say this one quick. What do you think about Aliens?
Aliens as just extraterrestrial themselves?
Because there's a little bit of a spoof with this film on a lot of Aliens are real films.
Yeah. Aliens are fun. Real aliens, like real gray aliens, scare the hell out of me.
Hell out of you?
Yeah, they're probably my biggest fear. I have an alien phobia. Is that a word?
An alien phobia.
Actually, no. What my biggest fear is right now, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I leave here at night and I go down that road of yours, and then you get that open clearing where there's a field on the left hand side.
Yeah.
It reminds me so much of Fire in the Sky.
Okay.
And I'm worried there's gonna be like a hovering ship there in that field, and I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm dead, done. Get sucked away.
Nice.
Because usually when I leave here, the sky's real clear and the moon's, shining right. It just creeps me out a lot.
I wonder what that.
I don't know what any of that is.
We're still working on stuff. Okay, no, we're good.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, we're still good. We don't know if this is gonna work or not. We're just testing Mob Cam out for the first time, so bear with us, everybody.
I love how we have 2 screens now.
Double screenage. Yes.
Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1. Camera 2.
Wayne's World. But we got this part of Xtro when the alien is the guy's going by and he sees this alien kind of back away from the road. They actually put that on Like aliens
Yes.
are real.
Oh yes. There's tapes. I've seen this hundreds of times. In like everyone goes to YouTube to watch music videos, and you always end up or someone fighting.
Yeah.
And always end up in conspiracies somewhere. And I always love the aliens caught on tape. And there's some stuff you see like, oh, that's questionable. Every time I see Xtro, that scene from Xtro of him on the back road.
Yeah.
And I'm always the first comment. I go, that's not real. That's Xtro.
That's an actual film.
Yeah, that's a real movie.
That's not a found footage.
Yeah,
that's a real film.
When saying that though, that is a creepy part of the movie.
It is creepy.
Like if you're driving down the road and you saw like, oh, there's this alien doing the crab walk coming out of me.
It's very interesting to see these extraterrestrials basically use themselves to convey the next species. Like they're just transportation shells for the next species.
Yes.
And once they know they have done their part, they just deteriorate into nothing. And it just goes on and on and on and it's kind of interesting. This Xtro, basically what it is at the beginning of the film, a father and son get broken up by the father getting abducted. After 3 years, they're just doing their own thing. The next thing you know, something comes to Earth. This alien comes out of the mud after it crashes. Basically attacks a female, impregnates him through the mouth, blows out her fucking pussy hole and ass, probably ass I would have to assume because it went through her mouth.
Well, that fin comes up here like a shark.
Oh, that was part 2.
Oh, it's part two.
No, the first one is just huge belly expansion and just blows out everything and it's really hot.
Yeah.
And it's blowing all over me. And then so that happens and the guy basically just crawls out, cleans up, and is a incarnation of some kind of the dad.
Mm-hmm.
So it just begs the explanation. Give me more backstory. How did he why did they choose the dad? Like how did this happen? Tell me your experiences on the ship. Like that kind of crap.
Yep.
And it turns out he's basically just I don't know. Is he just they gave him a few hours on Earth to do what he needed to do? Or is he basically just an alien proposing to be the father? To get another... Because he basically turns his kid into an alien and then takes his kid at the end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel that is going to be his actual father coming back, like giving a chance to come back to Earth in a certain way, or is that an alien posing as his father?
I think it's an alien posing as the father.
Yeah.
I think there's regressed memory there, though.
Yeah. Were they using the father's memory to go back and steal his kid too?
Possibility.
Yeah, they were just kind of basically using his memories and okay, we're going to target this guy now.
Yeah.
And they laid all these eggs, they got all the eggs in the thing.
Those eggs are so... Those eggs look like... We used to do a science experiment in high school where you take not hard-boiled egg, a raw egg, and you soak it in a glass of vinegar, and it eats away the shell.
Yeah.
And that's what the eggs look like. It's just like
the yolk.
A yolk and the clear coating, like that chicken.
At the end was holding it.
Just it burst and it's like right in her mouth.
There's another really interesting film with alien eggs, and when they blow up, they fucking blow up. Have you ever seen Contamination?
No.
That's another. It's Alien It's like Alien Part 7, Alien Contamination, and another it's Italian film, so it has 17 different titles. But that is definitely an interesting alien film to watch as well. We're gonna have to get to the Deadly Spawn and stuff like that at some point in time too. But I figured I actually have been doing this thing on Twitter, where I'm doing polls of what we should do next, and Xtro 1 and 2 won against video violence and other
go
things
figure.
like that. Yeah,
go figure.
Xtro 1 and 2 won. So they definitely wanted to hear about Xtro. So I'm glad that we got a chance to actually get a poll of our watchers or whatever.
I want to say I've noticed a influx of these movies making a return here on other movie groups I follow on Facebook, where we either talk about it, and that later on that week that's brought up, or we are going to talk about it. One I saw the other day, it was so weird. What was it? I saw in a group. It was such a film we did.
Ice Cream Man?
No, it was a really obscure movie. Well, Robo Vampire was one I know. A few weeks back we did.
Mystics of Valley is a good one.
Yeah. Alucarda.
Alucarda.
I'm like, who talks about that other than us?
Love Alucarda.
Yeah, it was in a group. I'm like, how do you guys even know about that movie? Because I didn't know about it until you brought it up, and then.
Actually, the funny thing is I've been watching some other things happening, and a lot of the films that we have been talking about recently, I'm not saying we're doing it or anything, but they're getting special Blu-ray releases now.
Yeah.
Like Ice Cream Man, get it? It just got it. Like, I'm trying to remember because a couple off the top of my head, like really weird off the wall fucking films, and I'm like, all of a sudden it's blowing up all over the.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's kind of creepy. It's weird. So now Xtro is gonna get the special Blu-ray release in a month now. So thank you.
Yeah.
You just say thank you.
Come 3 disc set or three specials or something.
Xtro 1 through 17 on the same disc. You know. I hope there's not more. Actually, is there more than 3 Xtros? There's only 3. So
from my understanding, what I read online, there's only 3, and they only made the 3rd movie because the copy was about to go into the public domain.
Right.
And the guy didn't want it to go to, so he just threw a film together quick.
So we can keep
the rights
to it. Yeah. Now the other thing is, they did do in 2015 or something like that. They put like Expo Exposed. And it's like a whole documentary about it, like the making of it and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I should have probably for the film, but I didn't watch it. So,
does yours have the alternate ending?
I don't know if it does or not. The only ending I've ever seen is the one that blows up her mouth.
Yeah, there's an alternate ending.
Yeah, I know. It's on the internet. It's on the YouTube.
Yeah, I never saw it. I should have watched it. I don't know why I didn't watch it. I should have been good to talk about, but
one of the Philip Sayre. It's either Philip Sayre or Simon Nash actually passed away in the 80s or 90s. So I don't know how exactly that one. This one was written and directed by Harry Bromley Davenport. So there you go. That was that. 1982. What do you think about it overall? The film overall, because there's some pretty interesting special effects, some creepy stuff. Some funny stuff.
Yeah, no, it's. I think I like the movie. I love Xtro actually. I love aliens. I love interdimensional beings, space travel. Has a lot to offer. Great, I think for the era of special effects, I like the special effects. Great storyline. I think it's just a good movie. I like the twists and turns it has, and it doesn't hold back. It kind of just puts it there in your face with a lot of stuff. Which I like is
without trying to get an X rating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not going too far. And honestly, let's talk about it for it. The kid gets some weird powers, and then his mind just goes trip
with the
wild.
Toys, the life size.
The midget comes out dressed as a clown. The guy's like trying. I mean, like for a while they're like.
That doll is awesome. That life-size G.I. Joe.
The G.I. Joe doll.
Wasn't
that called an Action Man?
Yeah, it was an Action Man. So, yeah.
And for a while there, you're just watching the film going, am I watching an acid trip right now? What's going on? And then she walks in later, and like there's the panther walking around. The room is all white, and all this noise, and the alien blobs, and it was like... It gets a little surreal now and again.
It's almost like David Lynch had something to do with it.
Yeah.
It's really like...
Here's some acid.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, so there is some really surreal parts, not to mention just the idea of like good special effects and aliens and stuff like that. And I mean, when the guy's literally just rotting away too and exposing like the alien teeth, and then Joe gets it with like the sonic waves blow out his eardrums and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, good for you, bastard.
You bastard.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny. And then of course you have the French maid friend. That is basically just being a token French woman by having sex a lot the whole film, like je ne sais quoi, bang 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 bang. You know, like it's like you're just being a token French woman, aren't you?
That's all she's good for.
Yeah. So there is nudity in the film.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to understand.
Surprisingly, what's weird is we cover a lot of movies that don't have a lot of nudity.
No.
It's weird.
Well, the thing is, we cover films that
we covered films that are super extreme nudity.
Yeah.
Or have no nudity at all.
They either have nothing or they have everything. And one of the films we'll cover tonight has a little bit more nudity in a different way. But yes, so that was good. Xtro 1, what do you think about the film overall?
I think it's good, man.
It's definitely in one of those kind of movie nasty kind of no one talks about it, but everybody should, because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's one of those alien films that, I mean, it has a very unique storyline, I would have to say.
It does, and that's what I like about it. We've seen this story come and go already, but it's already been done after Xtro, I feel. I think it's a different kind of alien movie for the time.
It really is.
It's not really... This one movie isn't really about space travel, per se. It's more about aliens running amok, or an alien running amok.
Yeah. someone came down, the abducted shit, and then nothing for 3 years, and then all of a sudden
he comes back and shit's active again.
Yeah, I'm returning for this kid's son thing.
They hired a mime to play Xtro in the woods where he's doing that crab walk, which, you know, you think about it, it's a really cheesy special effect. At the same time, it's dark. You're going down a dirt road, and you only see Xtro in your headlights, and he's like running, like, you know, making that weird sound and stuff, and you're like, oh, that is kind of creepy.
It is
like,
creepy, yeah.
Like, I don't know how I would handle going down a dirt road and like, what's that in the bush? Like,
I like the fact that it's a humanoid.
Yeah.
Kind of like, it's an alien that goes, well, I think I kind of know what a human looks like, and then he fucks it up.
Tries it.
You're like, well, it's close enough, you know.
For effort.
It'll get me where I'm going.
Yeah.
And then it attacks the girl in her house, you know. I like the fact that like she like gets up like, oh boy, and then she tries to get this drink of water and everything just goes shit, and then her belly expands and it's just insane. It's just an insane asylum kind of a film going on. And the guy crawls out bloody and then washes himself up, steals clothing, eats the girl's guts out.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's like, oh, you okay there? Blood guts are just coming out, so obviously he's, you know, not exactly who he should be. Eating the snake eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's just a very interesting thing. The snake getting pounded to death by the old French lady.
Yeah. That shit was weird.
It's just a weird film.
Oh, it is weird. It's really weird.
It's a good film. It's a weird film, and especially if you like any kind of sci-fi alien stuff, definitely Xtro is something to be watched and liked. I think I'd give it an 8 out of 10 overall for films.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8.
Yeah,
you're right. It's good.
8 out of 10.
It's a fun watch. Definitely has its campy moments, and definitely.
But it has that nice kind of underground horror sci-fi vibe that really makes it kind of like one of those cult classics.
It must have had success for the time because they went on and made a sequel right away.
Right.
Which has nothing to do with the extra movies.
No.
You want to talk about the sequel now?
Are we gonna? Well, it wasn't right away.
It wasn't too far after though. I mean, usually, we have to remember they had to make it, so it wasn't, like.
And now was that
the same
are we
year.
talking about Xtro 2?
Well,
Xtro 2 was made in 1990.
And that was
1981, 1982.
Oh yeah, so
it was a little bit.
Well,
I think maybe he was doing the same thing he did with Part 3.
Accumulated cult status.
Yeah, let's make it again. But if once we talk about Xtro 2, I think you'll understand that there's a simple platform they were building on. All right, so there we go. And of course, this is a double DVD with Xtro 1 and Xtro 2 on it. So let's get into Xtro 2. Basically, there is a science project going on there where they're going to try to launch some people into a parallel dimension, basically. The people are fanatical about trying to do it. The government is questionable at best.
No.
And go for it, Josh. Go for it.
It's Alien.
It's Alien.
It's basically the movie Alien.
Mm-hmm. They even have a chest burster.
Yeah, that's why I literally, you watch the movie. I'm not. Xtro 2 for me was a little bit of a snoozer. It was
but
your
you
typical.
Have that like cheesy, horrible actor in the 90s. See, remember in the 70s and 80s when you got actors, they weren't maybe known actors, so they might not have been very good. In the 90s, they picked ones that weren't very good. Like, you're shit. Come here. You know what I mean? That's the thing is they got that. They're all over the top actors too. They're all that kind of like intensified over the top.
They're so. What do you call it?
Actually, the girl in there reminded me the first time I watched it of the girl from the Terminator film.
Linda Hamilton?
Yeah, when you look at her.
Yeah, okay.
But she's actually the girl from Cannibal Run. That was with Adrian Barbeau in Cannibal Run. I was like, I knew you.
Never put that together.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Xtro 2, they're playing with interdimensional traveling. And, of course, they're opening portals and stuff they shouldn't be.
They bring stuff back.
It's the same old song, really, if you ask me, of a lot of stuff. The only difference between, I'd say, this movie and maybe Alien or Aliens is the fact that it's interdimensional traveling, not so much space traveling. There is a difference. Your jumping world's not really jumping
Once
into space.
Xtro actually becomes more of an alien presence, though, it does really remind you of Alien because it's that dark, skinned, black.
Yeah, he's got the teeth, and his gnarly lip. He's like
the first real attack after the alien escapes from the girl's chest, like it cuts her like in half like a saw blade, and then like shoots arms up and then just gets the hell out of there. Though it reminds me of Parasite, because the first attack is all the the kind of alien with all the different like big long teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it reminded me of Parasite there for a second. But after that, when it really does get into the mix of things, it starts really reminding you of Alien. Really reminding you of Alien.
Even when they're doing the space, or the, what do you call that, the time, or world jumping, the interdimensional, their suits even look like a ripped off version of the ones they wore in Alien.
Right. And they even have the dinner table scene, but without the chest bursting, but that it leads up to the girl getting the problem in her stomach anyway.
I really feel like they just took the script and revised
it.
They
just revised it. That's exactly what they did. And here's the problem with 90s films. You know who the bad guys are at the beginning of the film.
You do.
Like, there's no character structure of hiding the bad guy.
Nope.
Like, you know exactly.
He's just because he's an asshole to everybody.
Exactly.
He's got a lot of money.
Yeah, that's the bad guy.
Yeah, I knew that as soon as the guy walked in the lab and go, oh, he's the...
Look at his hair.
Yeah.
It's all, like, big and puffed up.
Yeah.
That's the bad guy. And then he's all like things are coming out of him, he's foaming, and then they actually blow up the dimensional portal and fucking kill him at the end. So what do you think about Xtro 2?
So it was a little bit boring for me.
It's like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, no,
watchable.
I'll give it a 4.
Really?
Yeah. I do want to say, though, watching this one, now I'm going to go on a little conspiracy here.
That's fine.
Hear me out. For anyone who knows about the Montauk Project, I'm trying to figure out now, because I did watch this movie, and a lot of this reminded me of stories or things I read about or watched about the Montauk Project. And the Montauk Project was, it involved a couple of times travel, interdimensional traveling, MK Ultra, mind control stuff like that. But the thing is, when they're doing interdimensional traveling, and things are coming back with them, that stuff that would happen in the Montauk Project, all kinds of stuff like that. These stories of monsters running amok in a laboratory that happened in the Montauk Project. My question is,
amok.
Is the Montauk Project real then? Or was it just someone fabricated because they saw a cheesy B-rate movie they figured no one else saw, and they made these stories up, and a lot of people kind of jumped on that bandwagon?
Look at War of the Worlds.
Yeah. Do you think, because I'm watching this movie, and at this point, the Montauk Project really didn't come to light, if I'm not mistaken, until at least the 90s.
It was the mid-90s.
Yeah, and even now, it's just kind of like, what if someone just saw a really bad horror movie and goes, man, it would tell such an awesome story, and it could possibly be real.
Well, I mean, what if someone basically got grown up listening to other people's mythology and came up with God and Jesus?
Possibility.
Things happen, So, I mean, that's the thing is let's come up with this whole Christian idea of a Bible after everybody else's stories that we found out. And then the next thing you know, you have the Montauk Project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Out of all that, you have...
But yeah, the same thing. People do that, though. People do take someone else's maybe kind of niche idea or whatever and make it their own and then create something out of it. You know what I mean? It's what happens. So I could definitely see that happening, because all you need for something like that to take off is people that would believe it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need. If you have no buyers, your business won't flourish. But if you have buyers and you know how to sell your product, people will buy it, they will believe it, and they will run with it, and they will grow, and they'll make up their own stories to give it even more validity. They'll make up stuff so people believe. Christianity. And and stuff like that. And then the next thing you know, you have a whole cult on your hands. You know what I mean? So
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah. Heaven's Gate, Hail Bob.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that at work, and we couldn't remember the little group they were called. We were like, oh, come on, the Hail Bob. What was it? What
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate. Oh, shit.
Man, I love that cult.
Yeah. Guy had great hair.
Weren't they all eunuchs, too?
They cut their genitals off, and they were in their little bunk beds.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if they could just send me all their genitals. I need some.
You put them in a nice pot pie?
Yeah.
A nice stew.
Little cock pot pie.
Cock pot pie. But, yeah, man, Heaven's Gate. And that's what I was thinking. I'm just like, what if, because I'm watching it, I go, what if this is all, what if I believe in the Montauk Project to an extent, some stuff here, I kind of,
well, what about the Rose Island shit, and then basically you have
Plum Island?
Or Plum Island, man, and then the next thing you know, we have Lyme disease.
Well, that's what I was telling people. I go, it's funny because they disclosed Plum Island. The Nazis ran Plum Island after World War II. We gave it with Project Paperclip. We gave them security clearances, and what do you call immunity from the war.
Immunity.
Yeah, if they would share their information that they learned. And we gave them Plum Island to develop all kinds of crazy diseases and stuff. When you're going into Long Island, there's a lot of signs for ticks. Watch for ticks.
Oh yeah, ticks are horrible in Long Island.
High Lyme diseased areas. You know, what are the odds of right across the street basically is Plum Island, where they do chemical warfare.
Right.
You know, there's always... I was just talking to a guy on Facebook. He's posted about the Montauk Monster. All kinds of weird creatures washing up on the shore. I don't really think any of it's really weird. I think a lot of it's just dead animals that got bloated in the water,
right, exactly.
sitting in the sun.
Raccoons
and
stuff like that.
But there was one case where a humanoid figure did wash up on the beach. A man called the cops because he thought it was a dead body, but he said he was really skinny, real frail man, and his fingers were so long and slender, they almost looked like big matchsticks, you know? Mm-hmm. And he called the police, and one police officer showed up, and shortly after that police officer showed up, then the FBI rolled in and quarantined the area and took the guy's camera because he had pictures of it and everything.
Oh yeah, they just roll up and just confiscate everything because it's just a normal thing. Don't worry about it, guys.
So that's kind of like where I'm kind of like at this point, like, what if, you know, I don't know, or what if Xtro is based off the Montauk Project? Or what if someone heard these stories, like, that'd be an awesome movie.
No, just do that. Well, I mean, obviously, they had to build something from somewhere, but I think it's blatantly obviously that Alien is the major point of the script.
Yeah.
And then they build it off that. But basically what they're doing, and this is the funny thing is, you don't usually see shit like this except from other countries. Like the Italian film, like industry that will make like the big budget film and they'll make a cheap version of it. Here, we're doing it to ourselves.
Is Xtro 2, is it a foreign film?
No, it's an American film.
Is it?
Yeah. We're doing it to ourselves. Actually, it isn't a foreign film because Xtro 1 was a British film.
Jan Michael Vincent's in Xtro 2, I forgot to say.
Yeah, Jan Michael Vincent.
This January. January. Who had they did that, Rick and Morty? Mm-hmm. You're Michael Vincent.
Yeah, that's
from Airwolf.
That's interesting. Now, yeah, well, that's the thing is Jan Michael Vincent is just such an over-the-top character again, and it's squinty-eyed too, very squinty-eyed.
Jan Michael Vincent.
Now, what do you think? What do you think about stuff like that, like the whole aliens, conspiracies, bullshit like that? You into that?
Yep. I watch a lot of documentaries. I've tons of books. I know people. Travis Walton. I used to talk to quite a bit on Facebook privately and on time. You know, we post on each other's timelines and stuff. Travis Walton was the guy who got missing out there. We'll Fire in the Sky. The movie's based off of him. Mm-hmm. You know, and I do believe it. I really do believe in aliens. I believe in extraterrestrials traveling here. I believe in interdimensional traveling. It's all physics. It's just a matter of finding how to tap into it. Just watch Bob Lazar on Netflix. He's got a documentary. And Bob Lazar, and then people in the 90s would point and laugh at him because this guy's so fake. But here we are in 2019, and we go, is he fake? Because he talked about element 115 back in the 90s, and scientists would go, there's no such element. And here we discovered element 115. So now here's a guy from 89 to 1990 who said about element 115, that's how these spaceships fly. And all of a sudden, scientists are now starting to discover element 115. It's a real thing. So, is he full of shit now at this point? Because he was talking about, and he explained how UFOs work with anti-gravity and how they fly and stuff. And best way he explained it is UFOs, if you would take a bowling ball and put it on your mattress and push in front of the mattress, it rolls towards that area. And that's what they're doing. They're densening up the gravity so the UFOs we always think fly like this. You know, they're flying around. He goes, UFOs don't. When they go up and they're able to hover like that, you know, and do small maneuvers, but when they actually fly, they turn on their side and go. He goes, that's how they fly, because they're pushing against gravity. They're pushing away from gravity. Like when you put your feet up against a swimming pool and push. You know, you did that as a kid? That's kind of how you're flying sideways, actually. You're not actually flying like a Mars Attacks fucking like the Jetsons. You're actually on your side flying. You're flying that way.
Like you're pushing yourself through a pool.
Yeah.
Inertia.
And that's what and that's what he says. And Bob Lazar, while they were filming this movie, by the way, this documentary, his house and his laboratory was raided twice by the FBI.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yep, it was pretty crazy. Why they were filming.
Why do you feel if we're made to believe, right, If we're made to believe all this stuff is fake, why do the Men in Black always show up and do all this stuff? Because the more they do that, the more we go, oh, there must be something there.
The question you need to ask yourself is: the Men in Black government
We're
or
talking
extraterrestrial?
We're talking about, the government says none of this shit is real.
Yeah.
But every time this shit happens, the government's all fucking over it, like stink on roadkill. And I'm like, you know what? If nothing's going on, why are you here? Like, for instance, something that happened closer to home. Was it John Seeks?
John Cease.
What? John Seeks. Tell us about John Seeks.
John Cease, a gentleman not too far from here, probably about not even
45 minutes,
if that, even maybe a half hour tops. He was a gentleman. He was a family man. He was a blue collar American man.
Mm-hmm.
He liked to hunt and fish. He worked his 9 to 5, and one fall day, it was right getting closer to deer season here in PA. He told his wife, he said, "Hey, I'm heading out in the morning. Gotta find a nice spot for hunting. I'll be home by lunch." And Mr. Cease got up early. He packed himself a little breakfast, a little snacks for the woods, got on the 4-wheeler and headed up to the hills. And noon came, and he never came home. And his wife wasn't really concerned at the point, because maybe he lost track of time, And then it started heading into the evening. When she was making dinner, he still is not coming home. Nobody can find Todd. Then it went the whole night. And, they friends came up and tried to find him. It was real dark. They thought maybe something happened to Todd where he got injured. And no go. And then, she went to bed and woke up and still no Todd. No one could find Todd. So they sent a search party out the next day to find Todd. And they went up on the hills and all through the woods. And they did find his 4-wheeler. It was on top of the hill, just stopped. The tracks just stopped because it was a damp evening, so the tracks, you see where the tracks stopped, and there's no footprints around it. No footprints around it, not like he got off and walked off or wandered off anywhere. And so they thought that was bizarre. They couldn't really trace him. They had dogs up there trying to find him, nothing. Someone did say they saw his shirt in a tree. There's a tree all the way from the shirt, or shirt all the way from the tree.
And during deer season, you don't want to take your shirt off.
It's pretty cold out there at night, especially in the fall here in PA, in the woods. And then a couple of days went by, they had search parties out, and about, I think it was what they say, like 3/4 of a mile or to a mile up the road, they were searching in the woods, and someone saw a white object in a field over by a pond. So they went over there and looked, and here it was, Mr. Cease, dead, pale. He had pieces of his body missing. His lips was missing around his face. Surgical holes in his armpits. Mm-hmm. Stuff you would typically see in cattle mutilations.
Like the glandular areas.
Yeah. Stuff you would see in cattle mutilations. And he was rigor mortis, obviously, but his hands are up like this. And his mouth was open. Like he was screaming or scared. Trying to deflect whatever was happening to him. And what they thought was most odd is there's no blood. Mm-hmm. No bodily fluid whatsoever. The surgical cuts are perfect and clean, but cauterized as they were cut, so there's no blood nowhere.
So basically he was flushed clean of blood, too.
Yes. And so they called the police, they called the coroner, and they came out. Not shortly after they showed up, the FBI showed up. They quarantined the area, and they took the body away. The thing that gets really weird here is the body showed back up, or the FBI returned the body in a sealed casket. It was sealed shut. You couldn't open it. And they did a funeral for Mr. Cease, put it away, but the wife really thinks that his body was not in the casket.
It's probably not in the casket at all.
Completely MIA,
Well, they put a John Doe in there.
Yep.
There you go.
But no one was able to open up the casket. So she hired a private investigator. They questioned people that knew Todd. The FBI rolled it out as a drug overdose of cocaine drug overdose.
That would be easily traceable by the coroner, though.
I would like to think so, but since the FBI took over the coroner's report, not like he could fill anything out. He couldn't really examine the body other than what he did there in the field briefly. And I don't think you lose your lips and your armpits because of cocaine overdose.
No. But teeth with meth, but that's it.
Yeah, that's it. So she hired a private investigator. He interviewed people. The towns or the neighbors recall, he says, is there anything weird going on? They said they remember seeing lights in the sky up over the mountaintops where Mr. Cease was at that time, or not around the rough time. They don't know exactly what time it was, but they remember seeing him up around those days. And so the private investigator went all the way out to the police department and to get the reports, and they kept getting denied, or call this number and find this, to talk to this person. They're jerking him around. Mm-hmm. Finally, one day, he's in there. The chief of police comes out and talks to him and said, listen, he's like, stop what you're doing. He's like, just leave this case alone. He's like, save you, save your family, save the Cease family, all the troubles. He's like, we're done with this case. Don't go any further for your safety and the safety of everyone else. Mm-hmm. Just drop it. Why would a cop say that? Wouldn't you want to try to find answers of what happened to your loved one?
Isn't that the job, the cop's job?
So that's kind of where it ended. There's still ongoing investigations with other paranormal experts, what they could possibly do. They did try to get a thing to the permits to exhume the grave, to examine the body, do testing on the body, and they were denied permits every single time.
Sounds like you need to do one of those.
Just do it your fucking
self.
self.
Do it yourself. Get a backhoe one night.
Yep.
Hold people up with guns if you have to, and just exhume the thing.
I bet you crack that open, you're gonna find like a fucking jackal or something there.
Yeah, a couple dead deer.
Yeah,
something like that.
Something fucking. Because I can tell you, and my honest. What's scary about the whole story is the fact it only happened a little distance away from here.
Yeah.
Another thing that's also scary about is the fact that this body was treated like a cattle mutilation. I did a little research, and apparently this is a pretty common occurrence in Brazil.
Oh yeah.
People get mutilated by what they think are extraterrestrials or demons.
I'm sure they chalk it all up to like basically
cartels, drugs.
Yeah.
Yep. But I guess it's an on.
Well, that's the thing is I do hear sometimes like they talk about even like the goat sucker or whatever, the El Chupacabras and stuff like that, and cattle mutilations, and they always say like wild animals, but there's no teeth marks.
There's never teeth marks, but they're like surgical cuts though. I think the coroner said that for the time he could examine the body before it was taken, those are surgical cuts. They're perfectly circular. It's some whatever's cutting it. It's a perfect. It's not tearing. Like a teeth would tear or your claws would tear. It's like a razor blade, but when it's cutting, it's cauterizing, so there's no blood running.
And the other thing is, do you ever notice they never mentioned the onset of bug infestations?
Exactly. That's another thing the coroner did point out. There's no insects. There's no bugs. There's no decay. There's no smell of death and rot.
Right.
There's nothing there. Like it's just a body. Like that's just.
Yeah, because if it was there for a set odd days of missing and mutilated,
he was missing for 3 or 4 days before they found the body.
You'd have maggot larvae. You'd have things, and they never mentioned that. They never mentioned bugs anywhere, any kind of this or that. It's basically just someone took them out of a freezer and laid them in a field. And he's just thawing when you go oh look, there's a guy. So basically, also too, they let you find them when they want you to find them, kind of a deal. Yeah.
There's a lot of alien abduction cases that don't go so well for a lot of people. I know Travis Walton, he was put through the ringer with his case, but Travis Walton thinks that the government is behind it. This isn't strictly extraterrestrial.
Well, it almost seems like the government they work with each other and allow certain abductions to happen so often.
There's cases where they say that we have a treaty with extraterrestrials that they give us so much technology, we allow them to take so many specimens.
We've advanced about 1,000 years in the last 20 as far as technology goes. It seems kind of insane.
It is. I tell people that too. There's a lot of people who just don't believe in aliens. You're like, well, that's. I'm like, what? It's just a fluke, like you think about all of